Hi, friends. Welcome to Race to Rise podcast, a place where we discuss bite sized wisdom nuggets with easy to follow practices to live a better life. I am your host, Mital Patel, a parenting junkie, Ayurveda enthusiast, and an advocate of conscious living. A new school year means new beginnings, new adventures, new friendships, and new challenges. But does our kids know that? Are they in that stage to understand that the new school year means the slate is clean and anything can happen? We can write anything, we can make it happen. No, right? I mean, you might not have kids that are to that level. I mean, at least I didn't understand myself that a new school year means, new adventures, new friendships, new challenges until like later in the years. And so I feel like it's so important for us parents to prepare our kids for these new beginnings and new adventures, new friendships, and new challenges by, talking about it. And so I'm going to share these 5 things or 5 practices that I do before back to school with my kids. And this year it's been crucial because my older one is starting middle school, so there is a different set of anxieties going on. And my younger one is starting kindergarten. And we just had a restructure in our district. So now they have the kindergartner also has to change the school. And so there is just this whole set of, new feelings coming in. And older one is feeling more anxious and he's feeling like nervous and just, like jittery. But my little one is just like a straight up no. I don't want to go to school. And there are like there's like fuss going on, there are cries, and I totally, totally understand. And that's why I want to share this, my personal experience of how this back to school can feel different every year. Every year, it has been a different experience for us, especially, as you go from the elementary to middle school is different. Right now, last year, we changed school. We moved out of our town and we went to a different town, and it was altogether new district, new school, new people. So there was so much more anxiety there than it's this year, but it's a little different experience. And that's why I love, because how we all hear this like, oh, wait till they hear this, or wait till your kids get into this age. And but I don't like that. I feel like every phase is a new phase, right? And every phase brings its the newness, and every phase brings the fear, or the uncomfortableness, or there's just new feelings with it. And so today I want to share like how can we work with these feelings, and how can we ensure that we empower our kids and help them, identify whatever they're feeling, acknowledge their feelings, validate their feelings, and then help them process it, help them move forward, because we don't want our kids to feel alone when they're not feeling good, when they're feeling icky inside of them, right? So we want to be there. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we don't just, we're not just there to be there, or we're not, invalidating their emotions, or we're not like shaming or making them feel guilty about how they're feeling. Like you really don't want to say like, well, this is school year, you always do this. You've done this before too, and it's okay. Every year, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to do that, because when we make them, like, and of course, it's not our intention, but unintentionally, when we make our kids feel shame, or when we make our kids feel guilty about the new feelings or the experiences they're feeling, they're going through, this has like really negative impact. And if I get a chance another day, I want to share the like what shame looks like, what guilt looks like in, in kids, and what are the long-term effects of the shame and guilt. And we're probably, not probably, we've all seen it. It's just now it's about time that we educate ourselves, like what it looks like and what it feels like, and how can we be proactive about it, and how can we change our language, because at the end of the day we need to understand that our language becomes our kids' inner voice. So let's choose our words properly. Let's be mindful and conscious about, like not just how we say things, but also what we say to our kids. It's also important. So, how we say it, what we say it, why we say it, this all aligns, and it's so important for us to be mindful of it. So, without taking a further ado, I want to share 5 practices that I do before we start the school year again, before we go back to school. So, my number one thing, we're still like almost a month away from our school, but we've already started the conversations in the house. And so the first one I start with is, asking a question. And asking a question not to expect an answer, but just to give them, the stage to get curious, and give them that, space to just acknowledge and understand and go within, and just, give them a space to process. So I've started asking question like every day. I've been asking this like, I wonder what it'll be like to go back to school this year. And then just leave it up to it. Like I pause and I wait for their answer. If they want to say something, well and good. If they don't, we don't, like, I don't force them to say it. And so, it takes time. It really takes time. And so with my older one, every day I get this new insight, like how he is, nervous about the new school system now. Like he's gonna have lockers, and he's gonna have to go from one class to another classroom. And the school is huge, it's so big. And how he's afraid that he might not get to the next class on time. How he's worried that he's not gonna get time to drink, to have a sip of water. How he's worried that he's not gonna get chance to go to the bathroom. And so there are so many things that are like popping up. And so what we're doing, we're writing it down. We're like, just having a conversation on a daily basis. With my younger one, it's so different. He just says, like, for him, nothing is coming out. He just says, I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to talk about it. And, I really honor his feelings and his fears or whatever he's feeling. And I just leave it up to that. I don't I just say, oh, okay. I am noticing that you don't want to talk about it. And he says, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. And I said, okay, we'll talk some other day. And then, because I'm giving him time for him to process it himself. And I know eventually when I feel he's ready, I will ask him again. And if he doesn't feel like, if nothing comes out, then I'm going to start sharing about my stories. And I'm going to encourage and empower my older one to share his stories. I'll start sharing stories about when my older one went to kindergarten, or, when I went to kindergarten, and how was it for us. And so we're going to start sharing about that. And, it's just so, because sometimes, he's only 5, and it's possible that he's not able to articulate. He doesn't have words for it, or he just doesn't know what to say. And so just, making him curious, letting him sit with it is okay. Because again, ask question for them to get curious, not for the answers. It's not important to get the answers. What we need to do is we need to ask them question, pause, and then let them share when they're ready, right? And if you feel that it's taking too long, or it's just nothing is coming out, and it's just like it's creating more of, it's shutting them off or something, then start sharing stories from your school time, from your other, from your older child, or from your other child's stories, or sometime if it's your first time, make up stories. Kids love making up stories. And if you even don't even like making up stories, then just get books. Get books that talks about the first day of stories. We had a book for my older one when initially, because I had no idea what to, talk to him at that time. And so I started sharing from the book, and the book talks about, like, how they were feeling, like, nervous about it, and how they got ready their, book bags and clothes and stuff. And so read books if you're not sure what to say. Second thing that I do is we look at old pictures of previous school year, or the year before of school together, and then we laugh about it, or we remember the stories, how that picture was taken, what was happening, what was going on, how was he, or how was he feeling, things like that. Or we do pretend play, like, oh, what it's look like when you go to first, you know when it's first day of your school, that we're gonna take pictures, and we're gonna have build memories and whatnot. And so it makes them feel familiar with the experience, and it makes them feel like, okay, yeah, and it visualizes in their mind. And so it helps them, like, okay, yeah, I've done this before and I can do it again. And if they haven't done it before, if this is the first time, and then when you play pretend play, it makes them, okay, yeah, this is what it feels like. So then they are getting, it's like you're getting them ready on, when it's the first day, what it's going to feel like. And so this has been my favorite thing. We talk about school pictures. We talk about, how he has to stand up outside in the line, and we remind the school rules and whatnot. So it's a great way of bringing the awareness back in the picture and visualizing what to expect. Number 3 is involve them. Involve them in the school preparation. So, like, involve them in shop if you're shopping for their clothes. Involve them if you're shopping for their, the school, the backpacks or the materials, or, getting all that stuff ready. Involve them. When you involve them, it makes them feel confident, and it also makes them feel like, okay, my opinions matter, or I matter. That's why I'm here, right? Ask them. Or, even when you're buying clothes and stuff, I always give my kids choices. What would they like to wear this year? So last year, I remember that you always liked wearing sweatpants. Is that the same this year? Or do you want to try different kinds? So, and I give them choice. I'm not so hung up on that you have to wear jeans, or you have to wear shirts, or you have to wear casual, so you have to. I am not one of those. I used to be like that, but I'm not. And now I focus more on what they're comfortable in and what makes them feel safe, and so that they don't feel distracted, or they don't feel uncomfortable in what they're wearing, because I want them to feel confident in their skin. I want them to feel confident with what they're wearing, and just show up for who they are. They don't have to fit in. They don't have to fit in, or they don't have to pretend someone who they are not, right? And so my kids love sweatpants and sports shoes, and I really am, okay with it. I make them pick whatever they want. So involve them in the preparation. Number 4 is wonder, like, this is one of the play that we do. Like, we wonder about their classrooms together. So if it's your, little one, it's like, oh, I wonder what colors are going to be in your classroom. Or I wonder if you're going to have a kitchen like you had last year. And if you have a kitchen, what do you think it's going to be like? Or, what do you think the first thing you would like to do? Or would you like to play with the blocks? Or, do you think you're going to have story circles, etc., etc., right? So it brings them memory. And if this is a first year, it kind of gives them, you want to introduce like one thing at a time. Like, you want to introduce them, and, like, oh yeah, you're going to play with the blocks in school too. Things like that. So they feel prepared to go, and they feel like, oh yeah, it's going to be like, a similar experience at what we have at home, like, playing. And when it's, if it's about your young kids, if it's about your older kids, so like, for example, my middle schooler, right? Of course, this is like so new. So then we talk about like, oh, I wonder how it's going to be. Well, and then we talk about how we've seen the middle schools in movies. Actually, one day I even asked my son that, I wonder if your middle school is going to be just like the ones that they show in the movies and TV shows. And he goes like, Mama, no, that's not how it is. They're so different. This is not a movie. This is real school. I mean, I've never been to a middle school here in United States, but I schools in India are just so different. There's no such thing as middle school. So I cannot relate to that experience. But my husband went to a school here, and so, when he started sharing his experience, my son just, our son, he was just listening. Like, yeah, it just makes him wonder. It makes him get curious about it. And he's been to the school. Like, the schools here are great. They take you on a tours. They have these orientations, and they take you, on these orientations, and they show you what it's like. So even schools prepare our kids. And so I just love just wondering about and like, imagining, just go in your imagination and like, draw a picture and see what it's like, or what would you prefer to have it, or what would you like to have this experience as. And it actually really prepares them to, to show up, and it prepares them to get ready for the new experiences. And number 5 is start practicing routines. This one is huge. So like, of course, we in our house, we go with the seasons. We have routines based on seasons. We're not like, okay, so during school year we wake up at 6 o'clock. So even during like in the summer, you're gonna wake up at 6 o'clock. No, we have different routines when it's not school, not school days, and we have routines for school days. Because I feel life is about seasons, and when you are so strict about doing the same thing over and over, it becomes like, and you're so rigid about it. It takes the joy and the fun out of it. And it also takes, because what if tomorrow life is uncertain? Then you're not prepared for the uncertainty. And so if you're practicing same certain routine, and it's the same thing every day, it kind of puts you in autopilot, and then it doesn't teach you what to do when it's a different routine, or when it's, for example, when the pandemic hit, we were not prepared because we were so used to of our same autopilot routine. And so that's why like I love going with the season. And so start practicing routines. So we've already started like, okay, waking up early, sleeping on time, like, sleeping around like right now, because of the summer, they were, always up with dad, and they were always having their chill times, and they were doing things. And so they were sleeping like the latest was like the 11 o'clock. And I was okay with it because, okay, they're home and they all spend time together. They want to, and, the sunset doesn't go until late night. And it's just like, it's their time. Okay, fine, whatever. They want to play whatever they're doing. But now that we know we're a month apart, a month away from school, we've already started, okay, 15 minutes today, this week, and then 15 minutes next week. We sleep early 15 minutes and then wake up 15 minutes early, like that. And so, just start practicing those routines now. And then another one of our favorite routines is getting ready during the weekend for the next week. So taking our clothes out for 5 days, doing our meal plans, like deciding what we're going to eat for breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, and write it down for 5 days. So we free up that brain space for the next 5 days, and we don't have to make those smaller decisions on a regular basis. So we save energy, and, we don't have to feel drained, and we don't have to like, just drag about it, that what are we going to eat or what are we going to wear in the morning. And so this reduces the power struggles. Right. So it's so important to start like practicing the routine. So these are the 5 things that we practice in our household before back to school. We've always done it in this manner. Of course, it's not in particular order. Like sometime we talk about, looking at the pictures, and sometime we talk about, we plan about the clothes, and sometime we talk about what backpack to choose, or, things like that. So We have a month to go in here in New Jersey. So we've already started practicing these things. And so I hope you found valuable and start practicing. The power lies in preparation, right? Because I truly believe that if you want to have a better productive tomorrow, you have to organize it today, right? You have to organize your today. You have to plan ahead. You have to prepare. And this way, you know there are no surprises coming up. And so you know how to handle the emotions that you're feeling, the newness, the new experiences, new adventures. So you're prepared to experience them. And if you have like big feelings about it, then you can identify it, you can name it, acknowledge it, validate it, and then process it to move forward. That's it for this week's episode of Race to Rise. Be sure to sign up to our email list at risewithmittal.com and join us again next time for more wisdom about life, kids, and everything in between. I am Mittal Patel, wishing you happy raising and rising.